think there's been a lot of drama around your family and relationships. And I think that we've learned a lot about how to navigate relationships with family in the last 2 years.
We've also learned that there's drama with a lot of families. Ours, maybe like almost everyone we meet has some sort of story.
I think something that we've learned is, every family does have their issues and differences, but it's all about how you handle it and how you move forward as adults, I think. And I think that's something that we've definitely learned a lot about in the last 2 years. The whole family, but like specifically us, I think that we've come a long way.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Raising Heights with Zach and Tori. I'm Zach.
I'm Tori.
What was your joke?
My joke? Okay, not really a joke, but I wanted to point out I can wear whatever I want on our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And it's my favorite thing. For those of you who aren't watching.
Great point.
But I just wanted to point out that when we filmed, so like when we did our show, Little People, Big World, you couldn't wear brand name anything. You couldn't advertise anything. I'm a huge Seahawks fan, okay? So for those of you who are listening, I'm wearing my Seahawks gear because I can, and I love it.
I love it. I wear the exact same thing.
You didn't. That
my hairstyle
didn't.
is exactly the same as TV. My clothes are exactly the same.
I feel like though you were bred that way.
I have no doubt. I wasn't bred that way. I am that way.
Are you that way? But are you that way because of television, or are you that way?
No, I was never a clothes guy. We had a dress code at school growing up, and dress code, not a uniform. So it was like,
right.
That's what I kind of like about Jackson School: dress code or dress uniform. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is what you wear. There's no choices or anything.
Could you at your school? Could you wear a Seahawks sweatshirt to school?
No, you had to wear a button down. And I have a weird thing about buttons because of that. I think
I know, and you put it on our children.
I have a really, it's like a FOMO thing. It's like
not a FOMO thing.
I don't even know how to describe it, but I have a weird thing with buttons.
You do.
I rarely wear a collar shirt or a polo.
And he looks so good in them too. I will buy him the nicest and you never wear them. Like I've bought you multiple button ups and you don't wear them.
Buttons. I have a weird thing about that word and about them. So.
About that word. But you have put it on our children because Jackson's literally you.
Wants to wear what I wear.
I know.
Jackson's way more stylish than I was, though.
Jackson, though, like when he puts on a collared shirt for like church, I'm like, dude, you look fresh.
Can we do bonus points? Can we include the fans on this one?
What?
If you're an LPB Dub fan, if you guys can find a photo of me wearing just full Adidas gear, okay, from like season 1, 2, or 3. Okay?
Oh my gosh. And the neon yellow shoes.
Screenshot, post it to the Raising Heights Instagram page in the comments. Okay.
Hold on, though. I bet you. Let me see if I can do it really quick.
That's boring. You never want to include the fans.
No, 100%.
You just took over.
But also, I feel like there's probably fan photos out there of you with fans. That's like the ultimate bonus. If you can send us.
I want to do a comparison. Jackson has this Adidas tracksuit. Oh. Yeah, see?
Costco has Adidas tracksuits right now, you guys. I just got him one and he looks
fresh.
Okay, but hold on. Let me pull, because I think I have it literally right here. Let me pull this picture up. This is when Zach and I first started dating. This is like our first official date. Oh, hold on. How fast am I going to be able to pull this up?
The first thing I got Tori, the very first thing I bought her after we started dating, I think it was your birthday, maybe. It was your birthday. She never, ever wore it. I got Nike
I wore it one time.
No, you did not.
I'm sure that I was hanging out with you and wore it one time.
Nike tracksuit, like bright blue.
It was like teal with like a lime green.
Lime green. Okay. Yeah. Lime green sweater. Okay. It looks so fresh. And Tori absolutely never wore it.
I wore it at least one time.
Those shoes were amazing.
You guys, he wore these shoes every single
We would have matched and it would have been so cute. And she refused.
Yeah.
Not like she refused, like outwardly, like we're married kind of refused. She just subtly, like just never wore it.
Well, okay. But also though, in my defense, it was too small. The one that you bought me, it was too small. And I was like, I was an insecure lady back then. Okay. No, but it was like tight fitting, and I was not like everything I wear is oversized, and I know I used to be so skinny. Like, can we go back to like, you know, those memes that you're like, gosh, I thought I was big in high school. I was insecure in high school, and I would do anything to look like I did in high school. Like, you know, you're insecure. You look like that, though. That's
You've had
true.
3 babies.
I've earned these curves. Okay, people, yeah. I've earned them.
Curves are attractive.
Thank you. Well, you got them anyway, so hopefully you find them attractive.
I was going to say hard-working curves are attractive. Curves that you get from hard work, a.k.a. producing babies.
Growing those babes.
Yeah. Where are we at?
Oh, my Lanta. Yeah, what was the point? Peak and pit. What is our peaks? What's our pits?
I don't know what your pit is.
What's my pit? You always know what my pits are.
The flooring bubbling.
You guys, this restoration. So we had, for those of you who are just like following us, just finding us, we had a burst pipe. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, burst pipe. Yeah.
A burst pipe, and it leaked into our kitchen. And so we had to do a whole restoration project in the spring, and we had to replace the entire floor in our downstairs.
Yeah.
And I panic bought them. Like, I had gone into the store and picked out tile because we were going to tile the kitchen because we didn't want to redo the entire house. So I panic, like, oh, plan B, just in case we don't want to do this. I picked out randomly this vinyl for our flooring. Well, went home after spending like 2.5 hours with this poor woman at the store picking out tile. I went home and I was like, no, we got to do the whole house. So then I called her, and I didn't want to take up any more of her time because I'm non-confrontational in that way. And I was like, just do the floors that we picked out as plan B. Well, they redid the whole flooring. I'm so sorry. The company that put them in and the guys that did it, fantastic. They were amazing. They were so helpful. So hold on.
Clarify this though. The material,
that's what I'm saying.
Wait,
though. Hold on. No, you hold on.
No, because it's the same.
I'm saying it has nothing to do. They were amazing.
It's the same.
The floors themselves, I hate.
They're the same.
I hate them.
They're the same.
They're not the same.
But the people that installed them before us used
nails.
They
are not the same. The floors are they are different texture, color. They are not the same.
Oh yes, but like actual, like they're click boards.
Yeah,
and they nailed them. So that's what I'm saying.
But that's not where my issue started. My issue started the day that it was installed. I hate the floors. The floors that I picked out as a plan B, I would have never picked those if I had seen it first. Like, that was where my issue started. Fast forward. So it's been a couple of months since we've had them installed, and there's been a couple bubbles, and they were like, give it a couple weeks, let it like work itself out. So we have, and most of them have worked themselves out. But then in the last like week and a half, this huge bubble came in our kitchen, like very noticeable, very loud. It was one of those things that I then was like, oh my gosh, I hate these floors. And then now this is happening.
A strong word.
It is a strong word, but it's, I think, how I feel about our floors.
Floors are a very materialistic thing to hate.
So, and like, I'm not going to change it because it was such a huge undertaking to replace them. And so I'm already too deep. I'm already like, and if I said that, Zach would literally, I think his head would explode. But I think I've come to this point where I'm like, well, you know what? We're going to drive these into the ground. And when Zach and I are retired and we're still in this house, then we can replace them. And anyway. So you're right. That is my pit. Is we had a bubble in our kitchen and they had to come out and fix it. And I think it'll get fixed. Like those guys were so good. And that's the thing is the people who put in our floors, the company that we worked with, fantastic. They've been great.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect them to come. I thought they were coming out to inspect it and like figure out what the problem was today. And they came out and like fixed the problem.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But that's definitely a pit.
All right. What's your peak?
But you need to give me
what?
You tried to interrupt me there, Roloff.
No,
okay, I was on the trajectory of like, I was clarifying.
It's the same material, but the previous
owners... not the same material. It's not the same material.
Or sorry, the surface material, but there's the same like...
They're not, babe. They're not.
Manufactured?
These are vinyl. They're like luxury vinyl. And the previous ones were not. They were engineered hardwood.
Why were they so light? I think it was the same material.
Oh, maybe you're right.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same material. It was installed differently.
Oh.
They were the previous owners put nails periodically.
So when you have a floating floor, the floors that we picked out, when they're floating, what is it called? You void the warranty when you put nails in it, and they didn't care. They put nails in it.
They probably installed it themselves.
They
bought the flooring
they put nails in it,
and then they put nails in them.
Okay,
so
but
they didn't come across as floating floors because of that.
But also, though, they were way better. I get that they void the warranty of
material. There's something different, but they had a shinier.
No, they just had a smoother finish. But they felt more sturdy. So now I'm kind of like, why does this warranty get voided when like the material, like everything seems more sturdy when you put a nail in it? But for whatever reason, that's not how they're supposed to be installed. So
with nails, they're not supposed to be installed
like that.
So it's a different.
But low key, I'm like, I kind of want them with nails so that we don't have this issue.
If you have floating. What's the material
floating
called? Vinyl, whatever. Yeah, put nails in. Yeah, but it might,
And I think the reason why they say no on that is because then the pieces themselves can start. Like right now, it creates a bubble, but if you had nails, that couldn't happen, and the pieces would start breaking themselves apart.
100%. There's a lot of things that could happen with nails, and you can't just take it apart. Now they could just unclick it all.
Yeah,
that's why, because they could. He just said it down there. If water leaks, they could just unclick them all, and be done with it. All right.
Oh my gosh, peak. For everyone, literally, we probably just lost so many listeners because they're like, we just are on the largest tangent ever about our dumb wood floors. Peak.
What's your peak?
I just am in a peak. My house is really clean right now, so that's like what's bringing me joy. I just cleaned our whole house.
We're having the last little summer.
I know. Wave. The kids got to do the shark one more time, and yeah. How about you?
Pit.
Pit.
I don't know. Summer's almost over. What?
I know your peak/pit.
What?
Zachary went full on pest control last night at our house.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't a pit at all.
That was a peak. Well, it was a pit because we didn't recognize the hive.
We had a bald-faced hornet nest. And I walk our property and just stare at random things every day. Okay. The fact that this major oak tree in the middle of our property, I did not notice that there was a bald-faced hornet nest.
It was huge.
Paper wasp or paper nest in the tree. Anyway, I went up to Washington, watched Rico. It came back down. You guys told me about it.
I walked the property one time.
Tori walked the property one time.
I see all the things wrong with the property.
And all these things. Yeah. Well, no, I try to look for the bad things, but like, I don't understand how I didn't see it. Anyway.
Well, but that's the thing. That's the thing, though. I can hear like a bat.
That's the thing.
And that's what it was. Is I was walking and I was like, what the heck is that?
I still can't hear the buzzing.
You still can't. He knocked this thing over and he still couldn't hear it last night.
That's exactly what it is. It was a hearing issue, not a seeing issue.
Not a sight issue.
They blend in.
We're perfect for each other. I need the sight now and you need the hearing.
I'll do this to Tori. I'm like, Tori, what do you hear?
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Like, listen, just listen. Wah, wah. I'm like, listen. Anyway.
Yeah, well, you should check out, we should add Instagram. That to our podcast, like to the video, because it was so funny. I had this idea of just
burning it, okay?
Which was a terrible idea.
I bought this bee suit like last summer. It was
last summer, yeah.
Brilliant idea. $25 or whatever. Okay, and we've taken care of yellow jacket nests that are in the ground. I was able to dig it up, put sand over it and take care of all these different yellow jacket nests. Instead of calling it pest control and spending X amount of dollars and all these things, I could just do it myself.
You brought that home and I was like, that's the biggest waste of money I've ever seen.
It's been brilliant. Okay?
It's been brilliant.
The problem with this nest, it was up in the tree.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, I have these cutters that are on a big stick that you pull a string and, 4-inch branches are supposed to cut.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, if that goes wrong or something, I'm just going to upset them, So like, maybe I should just burn it. Well, it's in a tree. Okay. And it's been pretty dry lately.
It's been so dry. It's supposed to be 100 degrees today.
It's a pretty green tree. It's green still, but like, I don't know. That could have gone wrong. I was pretty set on it, but then Tori came out and rained on my parade.
I'm sorry. I came out and started asking questions.
She did text our friend that's a firefighter And he
immediately goes, bad idea. Yeah, Tell your friend that's a bad idea.
He's a pretty loose guy. Like
he is. He's a pretty like, whatever.
Yeah, he's not by the book. So, but he still was like, maybe.
Well, and then I had this video of Zach taking a lighter and like just lighting a leaf on fire to just see what happens. And that thing just like went up in smoke.
It wasn't great. So anyway, divert. I decided to cut the branch.
Divert.
Unfortunately, they did not get the video. You didn't get the video because I was like,
I
get
ran.
out of here.
I was like, nowhere near it.
These are bald-faced hornets. Look it up.
This big. They
Look
are
up bald-faced hornets. Yes, they're massive bees.
Massive.
They're some of the nastiest bees. Every Google article says so. Okay, they're nasty little buggers. Okay, so anyway, this thing drops to the ground. Then I light my little torch on fire.
You got the fire.
Light that up. Okay, there's still hundreds of bees out there. All the little, I thought at night they all go into their nest. No, they just calm down. But like there's still a bunch of bees out there. The problem is now their North Star is gone. And now they're searching for their nest.
They're find a new one, a new spot.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're all like bouncing around now. Verse before we could stand under their nest and they all kind of did their thing.
But for anyone who was about to come at me, because I posted a video a while ago about
these weren't honeybees.
They're not honeybees. They're not bumblebees. They are like nasty hornets. And I looked up on Google because I was like, well, like what is the proper way to like distribute, like get rid of these? And all the articles that came up were like, no, like nuke them, get rid of them. They're terrible. They do pollinate and they do help with bugs. But like not worth it.
They sting you over and over again.
I just get the
anyway, it was right next to our sandbox. Anyway, we had to get rid of it. So I
was going to move, or they were going to move.
The branch, bee thing falls, light it on fire. It was awesome.
It was best of both worlds. We kept the tree. Tree's still standing, but Zach still got to have a little bit of like pyrotechnic.
We didn't light the whole neighborhood on fire. So you're welcome, Clark County.
So that's your peak. That's a good one.
Well, I just accomplished something and also like just got it done. And
it was fun though.
It all worked out too. No one got hurt. No one got stung. Jackson and you were out there. I had my bee suit. The thing works.
Yeah.
I didn't really get attacked though. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't see a single one on you, and I was watching. I was like, I wonder if they'll like go after. Like,
I think I was just far, like with the stick. I was just. They didn't identify me as the
victim.
They're still the cutter is still in the tree, and they're still. So they just think that's what's.
Jackson had so much fun with it though. He got to stay up past his siblings last night to watch it all, and he loves that stuff. He woke up this morning like, I gotta go see. I gotta go check out.
It was pretty cool for him to see a bee because the nest falls down. We burned most of it, but I kind of put it out after a while so we can kind of look at some of it. And he was pretty interested. You can like see the inside of a bee's nest.
Huge. I've never seen bees that big in my life.
I feel like these were like the queen bees or the males there
was something happening.
All the workers are females, and then the ones that are like taking care of the eggs are the males and the queens. And anyway,
they were massive.
Yeah, so
like that was straight up heebie-jeebie status.
That was our day.
That was our day. Oh my gosh,
that was our evening.
That was fun though.
Yeah, that was
fun. I like tend to get pretty silly during those things, and I was making fun of you pretty hard.
I know, but also you're raining. I would have lit the tree on fire.
You would have lit the tree on fire.
Nothing was stopping me until she stopped me. But that was our first or second day of school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It gave us something to do also. So
because we don't have enough to do right now.
No, because you would have signed us up for something.
I know. Well, even tonight, I'm like, we don't have anything to do. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing. We're not going to do anything.
Yeah, we're not going to do anything.
Oh, my Lanta.
Anyway.
Well, topics for today, my man.
What are the topics?
I thought we would get into kind of a serious one today.
Oh,
it's not as silly.
Controversial or serious?
Serious. I think serious. I think that, so we're going to talk about family relationships and what that means and evolved into. I think there's been a lot of drama around your family and relationships. And I think that we've learned a lot about how to navigate relationships with family in the last 2 years. We're also, not pros at it, but
we've also learned that there's drama with a lot of families.
Yeah.
Ours maybe like was the most loudest or noisiest, not the biggest, but the noisiest.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a lot of like almost everyone we meet has some sort of story.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of interesting. Like it's not
so sad.
It's fairly not common, but like
It is. And I think something that we've learned is, every family does have their issues and differences. And I think that there are some families that handle it better than others. I think that a lot of families can have a lot of issues within them, but it's all about how you handle it and how you move forward as adults, I think. And I think that's something that we've definitely learned a lot about in the last 2 years, the whole family, but like specifically us. I'm talking about like our experience with like dealing with that. I think that we've come a long way.
Well, that's cultural though, too. I feel like. Or do you have a specific thought to lead us off on?
Because I think I feel like it's a kind of a trend right now for Instagram creators and people, influencers. They're doing these big retreats with their family. Like I just saw that, I won't say their names, but they rented this house that had 60 family members come, and they had this whole week away with their family and did all these games and activities, and they ate together. And it was just seemed like a really cool experience. And I think I see that and I go, gosh, like, why can't our family do that? Or why, like, how do I foster our unit of a family to do that in the future? When I don't know that that's necessarily reality for a lot of families. Like, I think that's very unique that a family would do something like that.
I feel like in our culture, it's unique.
Yeah.
We have so much money. We don't. Like, there's so much money, materials in between family, versus like in other cultures, maybe there's less stuff to argue, fight over, become divided over.
Yeah.
The best YouTube or whatever video on the planet is that it's alluding to some tribe, maybe in like in Africa or Asia or something, and they're all living peaceful. Everyone gets along, blah, 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 blah. But then like a fork falls out of the sky, just a fork, one fork. And that creates, division.
People want the fork.
Yeah, and there's a limited resource of it. And material shine. It doesn't do anything for them, but it's,
it's a shiny object.
Yes.
And I think we use Zach's family a lot as like the example because it's just
they're the ones a little louder. They get the clicks.
Yeah. Well, but I think, using that example, that is like a way to kind of describe the things that went on within your family. I did feel like coming into your family, it was very competitive, whether we were playing Settlers of Catan or we were like talking about like the farm or anything. It was just always very competitive. And that's, I feel stressful, like coming into that. Like my family, not competitive. My family is very like chill, easygoing. And that was like a difficult thing coming into your family and just being thrown into competition.
Totally. Some of that's family philosophy though. Families should all have like a philosophy or like, what's the goal? What's the plan as a family together? I feel like growing up, our philosophy changed on a whim. Our goals changed on a whim, depending on the day. And that was hard for us kids, mom. There was no like consistency with that. And so families, like I feel like our neighbors, at least on the outside, it seems like they're all locked into a family goal.
They're content.
They just had a transition of the sons bought the business. And it seemed like it was the way they talk is all clean and it's all.
But then you never know, like behind the scenes, there's always drama that doesn't get brought to the surface. Like to us, it looks like it's all hunky dory and.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like the way they talk, this is the mission. This is the plan. This is just because you can get more over here. Doesn't matter if it doesn't fit with the plan.
Yeah.
And that's hard we're talking families that maybe have a business or a property and there's a succession of things after, mom and dad or grandma and grandpa pass away. A plan and a goal in mind is important.
Yeah.
And not changing on the whim.
And I think that I'm like one of the topics I think that we wanted to talk about was I think that Zach and I are very family oriented. Like we would drop everything for the family. I think that that's like a goal. Would you agree?
Yeah. Like our immediate family or the general family?
I think currently our immediate family, but I think in the past it would have been everyone. I think it would have been the family as a whole. We would have dropped everything for.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think we were very family.
We were very, and I think that was like some of the core issues that started any drama, was that wasn't always reciprocated. It was really difficult for me because I was coming into a relationship with a guy who had 3 siblings that he was good friends with, like that you like had a great relationship with all of your siblings. And that was the shiny object for me, is like, I didn't have a great relationship with my brother, and we didn't like hang out and do stuff like you did with your siblings. And so when I first came into the relationship, I was like, oh, this is going to be so great. And then reality kind of set in years later of like, well, maybe families aren't meant to be best friends all the time, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think they are. It's just, again, the stuff in maybe our culture appears we're not supposed to all be best friends. But like later on in life, like friends, fancy, your bridesmaids and groomsmen all fade away and move on and get families of their own. And then they spend most of the time hanging out with their families. They're going on family trips with their cousins and uncle, aunts and uncles. You know what I'm saying? A little bit like, so it is like in this young moment, we think friends are the most important.
Totally.
But it does like later on in life, like.
So I think that's where we are. Right. Is like, is we're in this space of, we are growing our families. We're so busy. All of the siblings, your siblings, my siblings, like we're in this space that like growth is happening a lot, and we're very busy. And that's like a moment in time where maybe you do have to step back a little bit and focus on that instead of the family as in like a whole.
I feel like
but later on down the line,
yeah, you just hope that
is when you come back in.
Yeah, you hope too much animosity or whatever hasn't built up, that even time doesn't heal it, you know? You've talked about family oriented. Like, I truly feel like I was family number one. Doesn't matter left, right. Yeah. Like, if this affected that philosophy, then it didn't really matter. But I was maybe, as I reflect more in the last couple of years, was I too chill? Yeah. Too unambitious, too just like, this is great how it is. Yeah, just too.
You were content. Like you were, yeah.
Too. And then eventually I didn't feel like I was being heard. And so it's like, all right, do I need to step in here? And then, in my mind, that created too many cooks in the kitchen, and now we have problems. So maybe respect me for being content, see that that's a role that's being played. Right. Because you had now 3 cooks, 4 cooks, however many, and now, oops. Anyway, that's right. But it's not about that. It's about me. I do see maybe if I was slightly more active.
But you don't know. Like, I don't know.
Like, I'm just saying, that's me reflecting and going, all right, what could I have done differently there? And there's like details too that I could have done differently, but how could I have gone apart? Like, not even like what happened, the farm deal meetings and all that. Like, how could I have carried myself differently leading up to that 2 years before, 3 years before?
I think like away from the farm, family, TV, away from that, I think it's also important to notice that like going back to we're all growing our families, and, I think for me personally, I struggled as a young mom when people didn't show up for my kid. Like when we first had Jackson, and we like would have family birthday parties or Christmas or Easter or whatever it was. And when our family didn't show up for Jackson, I took offense to that. And I shouldn't have. Yeah. Like, I think I've learned that lesson. And I think that our siblings are learning that lesson right now, is like, just because somebody doesn't come to a birthday party or somebody doesn't go to a dinner, that doesn't mean it was vindictive or it's because we wanted to be malicious and like not show up for you. Like, no.
You've always been very big on birthdays though too. So I could see how like.
And to a fault. I think that I would take offense when people didn't pitch in, didn't show up, didn't do stuff. And now that we have 3 kids, oh my Lanta, like,
well, okay, back to
I think I had too high of expectations.
Back to philosophy and everything, you know, family should be the North Star there. And the first birthday of Jackson became very politicized and business-like.
Awful. It was awful.
Awful.
It was very, but again, like, we don't have to talk about TV because that was TV.
But it's hard not to.
Family didn't put it first.
It was a huge presence in the moment. It's back to what we talked about a couple episodes ago with like the reality TV. Is you're seeing just someone play with Legos or something. There's actually 6 other people in the room. Yeah. So I'm just saying all these incidences and everything, you're right. They were in the room also. So they did have an effect on it. So
you're right. Continue. You're right. But then maybe the first birthday is like a bad example because that was like one person and everyone like, I think I was more like when we would have Christmas, like your mom would do like an early Christmas and like only some of us showed up. I was always kind of like, well, why aren't we putting family first? Like, I didn't take into account that like, well, maybe there's other plans going on, or maybe we just don't all want to get together this time because we did it last time. And I think that was a hard lesson for myself to learn is like,
can't force people to be together.
You can't force people to want to be together.
Yeah.
You know, you have to let people do their own thing and you have to be okay when they don't come to things. And know that it's not because they hate you or they
And I'm going to like, tell me if I'm wrong here. What were those events filmed? So there's always a caveat on that. So there's a caveat on it. Why are we having early Christmas? Right. Because you can't get a TV crew to film on Christmas Day. Yeah. So there's already a asterisk on these things that were.
I think
just about family?
My point though is like just in general, because even now, like that we're not filming when somebody doesn't come to our kids' birth. Like we don't even invite people. We don't invite people to our kids' birthday parties anymore because we're like we just don't want to feed all of these humans. But the same, it still is like right now. Like if somebody didn't come to a birthday party, I'd be like, darn, oh well, like one less person to feed. But back then, I think I would have been like, well, why not? Like, why can't you come? Like, is our kids not a priority?
Like naivety too. Like, you did great. I've said this to you multiple times. Fantastic. No one could have done it better. Walking in from your position in life, everything into our family. I've told you this.
No, you have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Social media going from 10 followers to all of a sudden 100 million. And like, you had your closets were clean. You know what I'm saying? You're a good person. People can dig into you and you were clean, but also that didn't like make you go crazy.
Stay clean.
Yeah, stay clean. You stayed
pure.
Clean. Yeah, like you were a lot of girls, men too, give them 2 million followers right now and they just like they get cuckoo, you know?
Right.
Anyway, I've said this to you, okay? Yeah. Words of affirmation. I have said this to you, okay? Don't act like I didn't. What was my point now though? Were you naive on our events though, talking about family? And that's the thing, a lot of our family events, there was a secondary third thing going on. You just saw us for us, our family. That's my father-in-law, that's my
and I
brother-in-law, that's my blah blah blah. And there's always, so back to our neighbors, maybe is there something else going on
but
there that we don't see?
I think though that when we first met each other, I think that I really formed a connection with your siblings, like specifically Molly and Jacob. Like I really did form genuine, and so I think that it was hard to like realize that maybe we aren't going to be best friends forever, like we're not going to hang out all of the time. We're not going to make time every single week for each other.
Yeah.
That's just life. That's life.
The problem too. We were brought together every single weekend.
And so it was this very difficult transition for me to be like, well, hold on. These were like my friends.
We just spent all month of October together.
Yeah.
And maybe we didn't want to get together for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
2 weeks later.
And that was hard for me. That was very difficult for me because I loved these people. I'm like talking in past tense. I love these people. But our relationship has definitely transformed. It's definitely not what it was, and I think that maybe that's like the next point is I think that in our specific family, I thank the Lord every day that we have gotten to this place with your siblings that everyone is just like we could just be together. You know, it is like finally there was those growing pains of what does it mean to be in the position that we are and having the kids. There's not a golden
carrot in between all of us either
anymore. It's been taken away.
It's been taken away, or we just ignore it now.
Right.
It's still there. Farm's still there. Everything. But like also, and then we're just getting together on our own, separating. Yeah. Like this is just about
and I
this,
think that
else.
Especially between the girls in the family, I think that our commonality is like we want our cousins to know each other. Like we want the cousins to have a relationship. Sorry. Like we want our kids to know their cousins and have a relationship. And that's what's important to us. Well, something else I think that I wanted to talk about also is like when you're young and you're with your parents, like you think your parents are like the know all be all. Like they are, at least that's how I saw my parents was like, like they're right. They're the smartest people.
Strongest.
Yeah. Like they are. And I'm not saying that I've come to the realization that they aren't. However,
your dad is still pretty smart. He's really fast too.
Fast?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
You're making a joke?
Yeah. He saw those pits and he went right for them. Okay? Like he skedaddled in there.
Yeah. Well, I think though that you like it's a hard, we're in that parent dynamic now, like parent-kid dynamic of I don't think my parents are the end all be all. Like I don't agree with some of the things that
which is natural. This is all natural.
And so it's that awkward, like, how do I need my mom. I need my dad. Like I need them in an emotional way, but like in a day to day, like I don't need to be parented anymore. I don't need to be.
That's the adorableness about kids though. Like I can go win a medal at DAAA and Jackson would go up to Messi and be like, well, my dad won DAAA. Yeah. Where's your medal?
You do?
Yeah. Like, you know, he won a World Cup, you know, just for every reference. That's a soccer reference. Messi just won the World Cup with Argentina.
Yeah.
Okay. But Jackson would be like, well, my dad won DAAA.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like your parents are like that's who you look to. Yeah. And so there's this like, I think that I struggle with it with my parents and your parents as well. Like, and I think everyone struggles with it is this like awkward, I don't need you to like parent me anymore. And we do see things differently. And I don't want that to come in between our relationship. Like, I don't want my viewpoints or my philosophies.
I'm going to remind you this, by the way, when
so
Lila
that's what I'm
is
saying,
like 12 or 13.
Is we need to write this down somewhere.
Let's bookmark this episode.
That's my point. Is like I want to take these moments that I'm sitting in with my own parents and transfer them to like when I become.
But that's where I'm going to call you out. That might be where you do need to let go, not become obsessed over things like floorings and color of wood and trim and bed sheets, all irrelevant things. We talked about this a little bit last episode. Kids and like everyone wants to be fun with dad. He wants dad. Cause I'm going to get ripped here, but dad and mom are different like that.
Totally.
Moms, are you want what's best for your kid or what appears like being a good mom? Or do you this is what all the other moms will think I'm an awesome mom. Will your kids think you're an awesome mom? Or is it all about the other moms think women compared to other women?
Totally.
That whole thing. Dads don't give two peanuts what other dads think. And kids feel that. The kids are like, Dad's literally just doing what I want to do. And there's no other preconceived
cuteness.
Cuteness is anti-children.
Right.
And I know this is blowing people away right now, but like
it's true though.
Cuteness, anything aesthetically cute is not anti-children, but like, you know,
you're not doing it for the kids. You're doing it for the aesthetic.
You are doing it for the aesthetic. Right. And if you're doing it for the aesthetic, you're doing it for other people.
Not your kids.
Kids feel that, you know? So like
100%.
It's not all dads and not all moms. Some moms are totally cool and kids are like, mom's way cooler because dad's doing it for the aesthetic. Some dads, but in general, I think sometimes with our kids, they're like, they just know dad's just gonna like, whatever. And like, I don't worry about the mess. I don't worry about this because I don't expect them to worry about the mess. I worry about the mess because then you get mad at the mess, but like, it's not like.
Right. Your point is though, let's get to the point, Roloff.
Jackson last night doing the bee thing, he starts running. I tell him to go get something in the shop and then he starts running the house. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to go get mom. I'm like, why would you do that? He goes, oh yeah, that's a bad idea. I'm like, dude, why would you ended up walking out anyway, but I'm like, he just goes, oh yeah.
Mom's gonna like tell me not to do this.
I'm like, get over here, dude. Like, get with the program. Dad, I'm sorry. Like,
okay, your point is though,
I don't know what my
later
point was
on
now.
in life, we're gonna like note this down.
My point, like letting things
because like when our kids come to us and their parenting style is different than ours, then I can't sit here and lecture them.
I'm talking about before parenting styles. As they grow older, they make more and more decisions, and you gradually let them do that appropriately,
right?
You know, under your household, but like they might want to choose.
Which I do think my parents did a fantastic job of. So, I do think that like I was never, I think my like growing up, I was very responsible, and I was very like, I mean, for lack of a better term, morally sound. Like I had like a moral compass and like where I was going in life. And so I think that my parents did recognize that, and they gave me a lot of freedom in that. But once our like viewpoint started to change and like differ from them, and I am talking political, unfortunately, like my mom especially has a lot to say about it. And it's like, you can't force your political or world views on me anymore, because I'm not your child. Like I do think for myself, and I do like have my own way of doing life now. Yeah. So I just need you to like be my mom, you know, and just, sorry if my mom's listening to this. I love you, Mom. I really do. I do still need my mom. Like I need my mom in so many ways.
Mom, and then I look at you and I compare it, and it's like, you're similar.
We're both controlling. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dead serious though.
I know.
Saying you are controlling.
So that's why we're here having this like therapy session, because Zach's gonna help me when our kids are older and be able to
so we're gonna have a lot more arguments on the podcast. Tori also doesn't like to be told what to do.
I don't.
TV was a problem. You have a producer.
Okay, in that aspect though, I just got awkward and couldn't like repeat stuff that they told me to do.
Pat's watching this and going, yep, no, preach it, Zach.
Patrick's like, no.
Yeah.
Tori.
Anyway.
But I think, okay, so like family relationships, complicated. Everyone has complicated family relationships.
Kids. I want our kids, like, being their friend and supporting them later on in life, you know, regardless of details.
I think that that's something that I panic about right now, because our kids fight. Like Jackson and Lila, they fight. They don't.
And we gotta stop acting like that's the end of the world.
And it feels like it sometimes. Like it really does feel like, what am I doing wrong as a mom because I don't want them to end up in a situation later in life that they hate each other and they don't want to be in the same room. And because that happens all the time.
Though, that kids that argue and fight with each other's siblings, they're actually socially figuring it out.
Right.
They're, you know, developing skills.
They're developing like argumentative skills.
If your kids did not argue and fight, if our kids did not argue and fight, older brother, younger sister didn't fight at all, weird. Okay.
But that's the thing is, I see these moms post stuff on Instagram that I'm like, why don't my kids hug? Like I literally tried to get Jackson to put his hand around his sister for a photo, and I had to like bribe him for it. Yeah, where like I'll watch these other moms that are like their little brother or bigger brother is like doting on their sister, and I'm like, this is not.
Their bribe was bigger than yours.
I don't know.
That's all it is. Okay, they were probably doing the same thing.
I think that I panic as a mom of like, am I not fostering the right environment for them to grow their relationship and like become close? Because I have heard it. Like I have heard people say like the relationship with your sibling is the most important relationship that you have right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of believe that. Like I believe that Jackson and Lila and Josiah, that's the most important relationship that they can have at the moment.
So are we creating resentment though? Are we creating resentment with Jackson because we're always stepping in for Lila? Are we creating manipulation in Lila because we're always right? Do you get my point though? Like so 100%. Some of it's like we're bringing adult theories and concepts into a child's argument.
So what would you suggest then?
Well, I've said this, like, did he hit her? No. They're just kind of teasing each other. let it go.
Battle it out.
Yeah, battle it out. And that's just kind of how it goes. And like that's just brother and sister.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's just brother and sister kind of going at it. And
I feel like we've kind of let that go. Like we've kind of like, well, let's just listen in and see what happens in the other room. And then they get nasty. And then that's when I feel like I have to step in, because it's like, you can't talk to people that way, and not that I think that they would ever take it outside of our house. Like, I think that they are very comfortable with each other, and maybe that is why they argue.
Yeah.
And like, maybe they're taking it out on each other because they can't take it somewhere else. Like, they can't go outside of our home and talk to other people the way that they talk to each other. But then at the same time, I'm like, you're establishing these relationships with each other that are not healthy. And sometimes they can be great. Sometimes they can go outside and they're so sweet. And that, like, they built these little houses out in our bark dust the other day that I was like, this is so sweet. They're helping each other. And so I'm like, okay, we're on the right path. We're doing something right. But then the next minute they're yelling at each other.
Jumping in though, we don't give them the chance to resolve it.
Yeah.
We're always resolving it. Do you get my point though?
Are we always resolving?
Yeah, that's my point. Is like sports, for example, when the boys fight, like sometimes I don't jump in right away because not fight. The boys aren't fighting, but like arguing or whatever. Yeah. Like you kind of have to let them sort it out at some point. And then like, all right, if it goes on too long, you step in or whatever. But like same thing with siblings. Like sometimes you got to let them find that resolve. Right. And life's not fair too. Like, yeah, Lila, your brother's bigger and faster and stronger than you.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is being.
But that is also that is a good point, because I think that that's another thing that I literally thank the Lord for every day is the playing field in our household is even.
Oh, yeah.
So at least we have that. Like, at least we have this, like, this, because I think our kids are competitive. I think that they're like, Jackson's ready to roll,
How much of that, though? That's the thing, too. Our kids, they're very, not combative, but like, how much is that from us too? We're competitive.
I am not competitive. I am not competitive.
I'm competitive.
So maybe that's, but I think he's innately competitive. I don't think that's just because of you. I think that's his nature.
I'm always outside going, hey, I'm going to time you guys.
But he asked, like, they both asked for it though, too.
I've offered it. And then they're like, that was really cool. Let's do it.
Yeah. So true. So true. But I do thank the Lord that, like, the competitiveness in our household, it can never be like, oh, well, Josiah is bigger than I am. So that's why he wins. Like, no, like it is even.
Yeah. The physical playing field is as even it's going to get amongst different age siblings.
Yeah. Right.
So, right. Anyway, what was your third point? Our kids and philosophy. What's our family philosophy?
Yeah. What is our family philosophy?
Whatever it is.
Yeah. Do we have one?
I think we do. We want to be close with our kids.
Yeah.
We want our
kids. I want our kids to want to be here. Like, that's my biggest goal in life is when I'm 75 years old, I still want my kids to come over and I'll do your laundry. I'll cook you dinner. Like, I want you to be at my house. I want you to want to be at my house. Like,
so whatever that is though,
I know
you might have to be uncomfortable. That's what it is. Like, what is the philosophy and how willing are you to apply that?
I know.
Me too, though. Like, I want to, I'll go back to soccer. I want to develop them as soccer players, not just a win culture. Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to be uncomfortable because to do that, we're probably going to lose.
Right.
So am I willing to lose to develop, the player, confidence to dribble out of the back? If you're a soccer fan, you know what I'm talking about. You know, like play out of the back and whatever. Well, if that's the philosophy, the setback there is it's going to be super uncomfortable because they're going to walk with their shoes in the house and Do you get my point, though?
I get your point 100%. And you're absolutely right.
It's all cute to say you want them to be at our house at 85, but that's tough. And
but I think that's what I think that, like, we're beating up on Tori a lot during this episode, but I think that's where it's important for us to, like, have these conversations of, this is where I want to grow as a parent. Like, I want to evolve with my children. I want to, like, and our kids are not going to grow up and their color is not always going to be blue like mine is. And their favorite place is not always going to be the backyard like yours is. And their favorite their favorite things are not always going to be
Jackson's
our favorite thing.
Baseball.
I know.
But notice how I jumped in.
So that's what I'm saying is like, we have to like, as their parent, be okay with them branching out into other aspects of life and the world that maybe we're uncomfortable with, like that we're not in support of, but I'm always going to be in support of my kids. I'm always going to be here for them. And that's where I think my vision is I don't want to lose sight of that. I don't want to lose sight of like, I'm going to love my kids no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, I think that, you know, in our world, it's very easy to look at other people's lives and judge what other people do. And it's easy for us to judge because it doesn't affect our life.
Yeah.
But, you know, with your kids, like they could go in many different directions that you don't have any control over, and that, you know, you can only take your kids so far, but there has to be a point that like you have to love them through whatever they're going through.
That's the thing too. You could be a perfect parent. You could do everything I'm suggesting here, and one of our kids can still
Zachary. One
of our kids can still go completely south.
Do you know how what's the that sounded so just like high horse?
Yeah,
like I have all of the recipe for being a perfect parent.
No, I don't at all. But I'm saying you could do all the suggestions I just suggested.
Well, I think like
your kids, so you can't, to your point, you got to love your children.
We went to a shout out to the Comer family. They do intentional parenting, some like classes, seminars. Fantastic. I don't know if you went with me to the first one. I think that would have been the first.
I went 1 year.
You went 1 year though. They like, what's it called? It's called Intentional Parenting, their book.
That was years ago.
But I still, the things that they talked about during that weekend that they did, was it a seminar? Is that what we would call it? It was like a weekend
seminar. Yeah. Conference,
convention, whatever it was. Like they came and they spoke to all these parents, and the things that they talked about, I still am like, I still think about it. Like so one of the things that somebody asked was like, oh, I have this high schooler and what do you do? And it was faith-based, but I think it could be applied outside of faith. Like their parenting things were, I think, nuggets. But anyway, somebody asked like, you know, what do you do? I've done everything I can. I've brought my kid to church, and I've shared the good news with my child, and I've tried to foster a relationship with them in Jesus, and they don't know the Lord. Like, what do you do? And I think as a parent, like you have to, there comes a point where your parenting can only go so far. And I'm talking about faith here, but I'm also talking about a lot of other things. Like your parenting can only take your child so far. And there has to be a point where you go, okay, I have to stop being a parent in this moment and just be with my child. And just like, I have to stop lecturing. I have to stop. Are you tracking with me a little bit? Like, tracking. I think there comes a moment where you do have to step back and just go, you know what? I'm going to love my kid through this. I'm going to pray for them, and I'm going to pray that like they figure out whatever it is. But I don't want to lose my relationship with my child, so I just have to love them.
Some of it, I 100% tracking. Some of it, I don't know if this was their point they were making, but some of it is parenting. Also, are you parenting to show everyone that you're parenting? Because sometimes the appropriate thing is to sit back and just love your child, but then that might create the appearance of, does she know her kid is blah, blah, blah. But it's like in this moment, what's important for this child and me is for me to just love them and not care about the appearance of how I'm parenting or what I'm doing, you know, how my kid looks or whatever, because he wanted to wear, you know, a green shirt. And
because I think that like can happen 100% with parents. I know it happened between my mom and I. Like, again, love you, Mom. But like my mom would tell me not to do something, and I would be like, that's cute. Like, thanks for the advice. And I wouldn't listen to it. But then my dad would come in and say, don't do that. And I would stop and go, oh, okay. You're right.
Are there similarities between your parents and you and I? Am I cool like Gary? And
I'm controlling like my mom, probably.
Yeah. Your mom makes some good food though, and you make good food too.
Yeah. No, my mom was great though. Like both my parents. That's the thing, is we have different family issues. Like honestly, we're not competitive enough. Like the Roloffs are too competitive. The Pattons are like not competitive enough, you know?
Yeah.
So we just have to find like a good middle ground somewhere to like help parent our children.
Have we already, it's never too late. It's never too late. I think we're doing a good job.
Have we already messed up?
Yeah,
are we
already
done?
messed up though? Are we already at the doit?
Our kids are already like
I know we beat up on you. I'm going to pat myself on the back real quick.
Perfect.
Okay. I do
this feel this is my life, people,
Jackson
just so you know.
Loves baseball, and I accepted that. Watched movies with him, turned on baseball games, sat there with him, played pitch with him.
Totally.
I think that has something to do though with his attitude towards soccer right now though.
What?
If I like got mad or didn't want to play baseball or just rejected it, bad mouthed it, whatever, he would have dived in on baseball.
Right. Well, she still did, but
not wanting to play soccer. Do you go?
Well, she still didn't. I think you're right. I totally see where you're going. However, this is a poor example. I think he likes just being with his dad. I think he likes having his dad involved in sports and
he likes being with his dad, but that's what I'm saying. He also, I was still enjoyable to be around during the baseball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my point.
100%.
And so then it's like, well, I want to continue these good vibes.
Even if he came to us tomorrow and he like, I don't want to do sports anymore. I want to, which this would actually be awesome. I want to learn how to, play the piano. We would have to, which I think we should anyway. But you get my point. Is like that's fine. Like we will do what interests you, just as long as you do something. Like have a passion, have a hobby, have
We've
something.
talked about that though with our kids. Like sports, there might be a end line,
a
point sooner than maybe a normal child.
Average,
but normal. Like there's an average kid. There's a end point that will come sooner. Probably won't be playing high school sports sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's other things out there than just sports. I grew up just 100%. Thinking like that's what you get your kid into, sports. But like,
which I think is still what the world thinks you get your kids into.
I know, there's a ton of kids that are doing karate, doing piano, that like excel on all those things.
Jackson would excel at karate.
Oh yeah.
But like even like Lila doing dance, I never really pictured our kids. I was not a girly girl whatsoever. Yeah. Growing up, I kind of like forced that out with like my mom would have loved to do the frills and lace and flowers, and I was not that way. And so, here comes Lila, Princess Lila, who loves all things tutu and and so doing dance. I never really pictured that being a thing with our daughter, but she loves it. So like, all right, here we go.
Yeah,
but
we're doing good.
Are we doing good?
Yeah, a couple of adjustments.
I think that it's
again going back to family philosophy, figuring out what is the philosophy, what is the goal, and what does that take to make that goal happen. And it might not be comfortable the whole time.
Yeah,
and that's like for us, yes,
for the family, and that I think that's been the biggest lesson that we've learned in the last 2 years is parenting is uncomfortable and navigating family relationships is uncomfortable, but it's the most important work I think that you can do.
Totally. And we revamping that, treating it like a, which we do, but like just, it's always a good reminder to, it is the most important work. Are we treating it like our health? Is that the most important, for example? Right. Well, are we treating it like we know it's the most important? Are we actively,
engaging with it? Yeah. 100%.
Anyway, good episode topic, Tori.
That was fun. We're so good at parenting. So like, come follow us for more parenting tips. But
you can't know that until the end of the day.
You can't know that until your kid's at like 18.
Yeah, no, like 30. Like 30.
30.
Give it a 30.
Yeah, like okay. I don't know if I still don't know if I'm a good kid to my parents.
Can I say one more story?
What?
There's a funny meme on social media about like the fire. There's someone having a heart attack on an airplane or whatever, and they call out any doctors or nurses on board, and the dad ribs his kid and goes, they're asking for a doctor. They're not asking for are they asking for a typewriter or a typist? Are they asking for a
YouTuber?
Do they need an editor? Which is all great skill sets.
We all have our niche, okay? Like the world needs all of us.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here and holding on during all of that, especially through the beginning flooring issues that we're having. But make sure you like and subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Instagram, all the things. And I'm going to just like put it at the end here. If you guys have topics, especially with parenting, specific topics, relationships that you guys want us to talk about or get involved with, like, let us know. Let us know in the comments what y'all want to hear. And yeah, thanks for being here. Do your best. Forget the rest.